appreciative audience out there in the room and all of those who are joining us online, whether it is tonight or sometime in the future. We are absolutely delighted here to have with us the Mike Benedict's Jazz Vibes. With Mike over here on the vibraphone. We got Dave Gleason on the piano over there. We've got Pete Sweeney here on drums, and we have Mike Lawrence on the bass. And this is, yeah. So it is wonderful to be here. This is the first time I've gotten to hear this group together, but I'm really delighted. I'm Reverend Daniel Carlson, one of the ministers here at the First Reformed Church of Schenectady. And we have some really hale and hearty, courageous, and maybe a little foolish folks out here in the audience who braved the weather and the sidewalks, but made it. We're so glad for y'all. So Jazz Vespers, of course, is a ministry of the First Reformed Church. Tonight, we're really excited that this group their program is made possible by a grant from the Music Performance Trust Fund, which is associated with the American do I have that right? Federation, thank you. American Federation and our local Schenectady Amsterdam Musical Union Local 85-133. I got that right. And we're really glad they got this right and are supporting this tonight. Jazz Vespers, of course, happens every Sunday evening at 5 o'clock. It's a pause between reflection between 1 week and the next. And it is mostly music, a little bit of talking, and as they say, nothing too much to disagree with. And that was a completely wonderful first selection, Autumn Leaves. Why Autumn Leaves? It's snowing outside, Mike.
Well, we didn't know that it was going to be snowing tonight, of course, when we planned the program. But let's face it, it is still autumn. We don't want to rush things, right? You know, we tend to rush things in life. So I thought I would play a seasonal tune, so to speak.
Yeah, so a little bit of, this is, you suggested maybe a theme tonight would be a warm, nostalgic feeling during the holidays. So we're sort of approaching the holidays here. We are still in autumn. We'll be talking about seasonal changes later. I have a little thought about that. But our next song next tune is Remembrance. Who's that by?
Well, this is a beautiful composition that's actually on our most recent recording by our piano player, David Gleason. And, this is a time certainly to reflect on those people who are no longer with us. And I thought this would be a perfect selection for that because he wrote it for his longtime mentor Lee Shaw, the great jazz piano player who lived here in the Capital Region for many, many years. So this is his tribute to her.
Wonderful. Well, that was so beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. It also brought to mind, as I was moving with the music, with just the people that have blessed us with music, that tribute that you have written. Just wonder if who's blessed you with music, who's enriched your life, shaped your life, mentored your life in music. I know for me, that's my mom. My mom who, as you all were playing, I brought her to mind, who's now among those saints who is at rest, is one of those who stirred in me the love of music, sang me the first song I heard, played the piano, tried to teach me to play the piano. Oh, she tried, so desperately tried. Thankfully, Dave, that worked for you. Yeah. It didn't take for me. But the gift of those who shared with us music, and encouraged us on, inspired us, whether we knew them in person or simply through vinyl or CD, by reputation, for the gift, their memory. We hold it in our hearts. And of course, memories are what comes to us when Christmas comes to us. And that's our next tune. Tell us about this one, would you, Mike?
Well, this is probably maybe the most popular Christmas song of them all. It's called The Christmas Song, and it was written by the great jazz singer Mel Torme, as a matter of fact. And there's been many cover versions of it. Probably the most prolific is the one by Nat King Cole. And so we'd like to do our version of The Christmas Song.
It's hard to top that for nostalgia. Wow. So my mind goes in all sorts of directions hearing that tune. One of the places it went was chestnuts roasting on an open fire. Has anyone had chestnuts roasting on an open fire? Yeah, right back there. And over here, yeah. So those are really tasty. Yeah, yeah. I have had chestnuts roasting on a wood stove recently. Some friends brought over some chestnuts and we put them on the stove. They are so much better than chestnuts in any other way that I've ever had. So if you have not had chestnuts roasting on an open fire, you need to get down to, I guess, I don't know where you can still get them, but find some place or just get your wood stove out because those are great. Really good. So what else? I'm going to invite a little bit of, so we've got enough people here in the room to say, what else? So when you think of Christmas nostalgia, what comes to mind besides chestnuts roasting on an open fire? Come on.
Waking up Christmas morning when my father had turned on the radio, so I was hearing a lot of Christmas music.
Yes. Music, so for those who couldn't hear, music on the radio as on Christmas morning, coming down to music, Christmas music on the radio. What else?
We always used to go out to Chinese restaurant after Christmas Eve church.
So the Chinese restaurant after the Christmas Eve service. You are the only person I ever have met who's done that, Mike.
But now, since that was my grandfather's tradition, now that we do it, we do sushi takeout.
Sushi takeout after Christmas Eve. What else? What says nostalgia, Christmas nostalgia for you?
We always do ours on Christmas Eve. I think it's more German tradition, so that's our big thing.
Is the
Yeah.
Christmas Eve,
Big dinner,
big dinner,
ham, scalloped potatoes, and orange gelatin salad.
ham, scalloped potatoes, and the Midwestern Jello salad. Yep. So all those things, but in the Midwest, it's the Jello salad. Yes, in Wisconsin and Minnesota too. Yes, sometimes with marshmallows in it and kind of julienne carrots. Yes. Apple and apricots. Yes, the Jello salad on Christmas Eve. What else? Christmas Eve nostalgia. Christmas nostalgia.
Cookies.
Cookies. Oh, yes, we would be remiss if we did not talk about Christmas cookies, right? Yes. Are those being baked in your house even now? Yeah, right. Yep. My wife, I'm hoping, who is not listening to the service, I'm hoping she's making cookies right now, even as we speak. So I'll get to sample. It's still Advent, it's still autumn, but sometimes Christmas bleeds over into this wonderful season that we're in. Anyone
As
else?
soon as you walk in the house, if she's cooking.
Oh, you do. Yes, yes. I'm hoping that is the case.
The welcome home scent.
It is the scent of the cookies. The scent of the cookies. Yes, all the things. What's next, Mike?
Well, speaking of nostalgia, I was a big ice skater. I know that's hard for you to believe, looking at me right now. But growing up, ice skating was big, and my father used to actually make a rink for us right out in the backyard. And we also did a lot at the ice hockey rink down in town. But this song is from a movie. It's called Odds Against Tomorrow, and it takes place in 1959, and it takes place in New York City and a fictitious town in upstate New York. And when I first saw the movie, it took me a while to recognize it, but that town was actually Hudson, New York. And Harry Belafonte was in the movie. But I became acquainted with the music many, many years before that because the Modern Jazz Quartet composed the music for that movie. And John Lewis, the leader, did the compositions. And this is called Skating in Central Park. One, two, three, four, there you go.
that's so delightful. I love it. So, you know, there are not many hymns about ice, but I thought of one. I thought of one that connected with skating, and here it is. This hymn is actually, I'm not going to sing it. I will simply, however, although it is a great tune by the famous Ralph Vaughan Williams, arranges it. It's a English folk melody, but here's the poetry on it. Oh, beautiful the march of days as seasons come and go. The hand that shaped the rose hath wrought the crystal of the snow, hath sent the hoary frost of heaven, the flowing waters sealed, and laid a silent loveliness on hill and wood and field. O'er wide expanses, sparkling pure, the radiant morn unfolds. The solemn splendor of the night burns brighter through the cold. Life mounts in every throbbing vein, love deepens round the hearth, and clearer sounds the angel hymn, goodwill to all on earth. O thou from whose unfathomed law the year in beauty flows, thyself the vision passing by in crystal and in rose. Day unto day doth utter speech, and night to night proclaim, in ever-changing words of light, the wonder of thy name. Francis Whitmore Wilde, from 1911. So I'm curious about this next tune here, Come Sunday. Come Sunday. Tell me about this, Mike.
Come Sunday is a spiritual written by the great Duke Ellington. And, it's really meant for a time of reflection. And any Sunday would be appropriate, certainly, but certainly today in terms of our recognition of the holiday spirit. And also with the holiday spirit of that great song, The Little Drummer Boy, we're going to have Pete start us off with a little drummer boy rendition of Come Sunday.
So in our tradition, the focus of Sundays is always on the one who we believe rose again on a Sunday. It's always on Jesus and the way in which he manifests God's steadfast, eternal love for us. So this poem comes to mind, thinking about Sundays. Very short, by Wendell Berry. Born by our birth, here on the earth, our flesh to wear, our death to bear. Sundays. What's next?
Well, we have a beautiful song written by the great Keith Jarrett, and Keith did this in a concert. I think it was 1975. There's a famous album called The Cone Concert, and it's just Keith playing solo piano, and the entire concert is completely improvised. And back in the day, it was a 2-record set, and I bought it and I wore it out. The only composition that was preconceived was this one that we're going to play for you now. It was a short piece he did at the end, which was an encore of that evening. And this is called Memories of Tomorrow. And so when I think about this in relation to the holiday season, you know, we've talked about nostalgia and our old memories, right? So, but there's always, especially when you have, children and grandchildren running around, there's always more memories to make for the future. So this is called Memories of Tomorrow.
Memories of tomorrow. So I would be remiss if I did not help us remember not tomorrow, but next week. We're looking forward to Jazz Vespers coming to us with Peg Delaney and Bill Delaney and Jim Curliano on sax. And Joe Doolittle is hosting. That's next week for Jazz Vespers. Tonight, we want to also be remiss not to remember that we are having this wonderful program being hosted by the Music Performance Trust Fund, which is associated with the American Federation and our local Schenectady Amsterdam musical, Local 85-133. We're so grateful to them for their support of this. And want to remind you of our musicians who I invite you, giving thanks for once again. This is the Mike Benedict Jazz Vibes with Mike on the vibraphone, Dave Gleason on piano, Pete Sweeney on drums, and Mike Lawrence on bass. Let us thank them once again. And I would also be finally remiss if I did not note for you the snacks that usually Marjorie provides, but Peggy King has come through and has got snacks following our time here. And we have one last tune to take us out, and what a surprise that it would be.
The classic from A Charlie Brown Christmas. This is Christmas Time Is Here.
And so what kind of a benediction would you need after that? I think it probably would go to Linus, who stole the show and said these words to those who had gathered, wondering what all the hubbub was about. But the angel of the Lord said to them, "Do not be afraid, for see, I am bringing you good news of great joy for all the people. For to you, to us, is born this day in the city of David a Savior, who is the Messiah, the Lord." Amen.
Thank you.